Well, good morning, everyone. Wow, is this ever exciting to be together and share a message with you today? And the topic today is they grow because they know. And I'm going to start off with a little story, personal story, of a few weeks ago when Lawrence and I were we were preparing the soil for a new garden, which we'd never done before. And there's a picture of Lawrence. He dug a big plot. So the soil was dug up and prepared, and then we filled it with fertilizer, the soil and everything in there. And it felt very grounding that we were working with the land, our sweet little plot of 7 by 4 feet. We were so excited. And I had my grandfather's old tools, and it was kind of fun to use his old tools that I remember him preparing his garden that I remember growing up and experiencing. Well, when it came time for us to sow our seeds, we read the directions, we analyzed the approach, but we analyzed it so much that we were overthinking something that was really quite simple. The seed knows what to do, and regardless of whether we sowed them too close together or they would still grow, and we could see what happens and make adjustments accordingly. The forests are full of these kinds of examples, trees growing out of dead stumps and rotting debris, cracks and crevices. During this time of trepidation, I felt very frozen with indecisiveness, totally frozen, locked into a space of fear of not doing it right. Dusk was falling and the light was dimming, and after a while, with us trying to figure out the best way, Lawrence simply said, "I think we're overthinking this. Let's just do it." And at that precise moment, a certain kind of freedom washed over me as I heard his words. And he began to poke his finger into the ground a certain distance apart to help lay out a plan, and handed the seeds for me to sow. Still with that little residue of hesitation, I'm like, well, how many do I do? Like, what do I, just 3, 4, whatever, just do it. So I managed to get in 1 row of spinach seeds before it got dark. And it felt so satisfying that nonetheless, I didn't have time to persevere and get the whole plot done. So we went back inside, and the next morning I woke up, and with my house coat on and coffee in hand, a basket full of seeds, I went out, and without any trepidation, I went out and I just poked my holes and sowed my seeds. And it was just that just do it attitude that gave me the freedom to get into my heart and not think about it in my head, and be proceed to sowing the seeds without fear or doubt or any trepidation. While the simplicity of this action was so freeing, it felt very satisfying. It was fascinating to see these different types of seeds and to know that within each one of them, they had the potential to grow into its very own unique way from within the dark soil. This is the truth for all of us, is it not? Does this not prove that there is no absence of light or intelligence anywhere? There truly is no spot that God is not. God is life, intelligence, and substance, and that substance is love, expressing his love. Imagine those seeds singing to themselves, "I am love, and love flows to me. I am love, and love flows through me. I am love, and love flows from me. I am, I am, I am, I am. Wow. As its roots grow deeper and it reaches for the light, we have the choice to do the same. Growing up in unity as a child, I was given a necklace, a little glass ball with a single mustard seed inside it, similar to this picture on the slide right now. And I knew that it was having faith as a mustard seed, but as a young child, you know, you don't sometimes get those concepts as much, or maybe it was ingrained in me and I didn't know, because I probably just accepted it. So in one of the most widely known scriptures, this was taken from one of the most widely known scriptures, a parable of Jesus, the seed of faith, Matthew 17:20. Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith, a grain of a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." We're metaphysically speaking in unity. We look beyond the physical and we're looking at what emotional blocks we have that we can infuse with faith to move that mountain away and create a clear path for ourselves. Also, back when this whole pandemic shutdown started, Eckhart Tolle posted a video on YouTube, and he read one of his favorite scriptures from the Bible, which he doesn't often do. And I thought I would share it with you. Again, it's from Matthew. "Everyone who listens to these words of mine and does them will be like a man or woman building a house on the rock, and dug deep and laid the foundation on the rock. The rain fell and the floods came and the wind blew and beat against the house, which did not collapse. It had been set solidly on rock. And everyone who listens to these words of mine but does not do them will be like a fool who built his or her house on sand. The rain fell, the floods came, and the wind blew and beat up on the house, and it collapsed and was completely ruined." Next slide, Angelica, if you don't mind. There you go. There's a little comical one of the parable of Matthew. The deeper meaning, the metaphysical meaning of this is that we represent the man or woman in this story, and the house is us or you. And the wind is the adversity that we face. And he says, if you haven't gone deep enough, you have not found anything beyond the conceptual mind, the floods of rain will devastate you, or can, depending on your strength. I read somewhere recently, I've been doing a lot of reading for my classes, and came across this quote: "Faith does not need to be increased, it just needs to be expressed." Faith is always there. It's our awareness of faith that increases. Faith does not need to be increased. It just needs to be expressed. Faith is always there. It's our awareness of faith that increases. All you need to do is have faith of a mustard seed, and that doesn't sound very difficult, does it? It feels like a very good place to start. Just like the Sound of Music song. Let's start from the very beginning, a very good place to start. When you read, you begin with A, B, C. When you sing, you begin with, all together, do, re, mi, do, re, mi. Yes, let's begin with the faith size of a mustard seed. Where in you do you feel you are feeling the call to stretch yourself and yet holding on to fear about it, which keeps you frozen or stuck? Hello? Yeah, I know it happens, and it's not like we're perfect. We don't live these perfect lives. It's just a call to awareness. So there's the feeling of stuckness and fear and not sure and trepidatiousness. And so it's when wrapped up in our overthinking and doubt and fear, it's a way to shift out of that is by focusing on the potentiality of the smallest amount of faith, and then the strength to move forward and the healing begins. It's tangible, it's doable, it feels more possible and not so overwhelming and joyful. Oh, just one baby step at a time. And you can dance on the hills and twirl all you like. Well, I have an embarrassing story to tell you from back in the day. It's a watermelon story. It's my next slide. And I was a young mom, 2 boys in school and 1 baby in the kitchen with me, and feeling overwhelmed, very, very, I was loving what I was doing, just feeling a lot of responsibility. And I had to prepare a watermelon because one of my sons was having a special classroom party. So I was going to cut it up and cube it and bring it along. And so I got this new set of knives that my brother-in-law had given us. And I don't know what my thinking was, but instead of pointing the knife into the watermelon to cut it open and splice it, I just hacked right into it, and it got wedged right stuck. Like I could not move it. And I don't even know quite what force came up in me. And I just pulled so hard. But with that force, it's like, you know, they have that saying about being hit with a cosmic 2x4. Well, I kind of gave myself a physical 2x4, but with the blunt end of a knife right in my third eye, like, boom. And I felt stars immediately. And I went into this, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What am I, how, I'm just not thinking straight. I almost felt like I was going to pass out. And I thought, here I am by myself with a young little baby, and I've got to get this watermelon to the school. What do I do? I just sat there on the floor for a moment, and I gathered my thoughts, and it was that feeling of reset. I needed to just reset and dig deep and move forward. So I got up and went back to slicing this watermelon up and got it prepared, went off to the school. And I think, I mean, I knew I had a bump. I had a goose egg on my right here, pretty hard to hide. And it also had the blunt end of the knife imprinted in my forehead. And oh my gosh, I had to show up at class with all the moms asking, oh my goodness, what happened to you? And I was just, oh my goodness. So, you know, there's times in your lives, in our lives, when life just gets away on you, and you just don't think straight, and then accidents happen. And I was really glad that I didn't knock myself out. It wasn't anything worse and anything, but I just wanted to share that story, because I'm sure there's something in there that you can all relate to. Now, this next slide, I still have something to talk about. Just prior to this next slide, I was thinking about, well, what tools or tips could I give you to help you, rather than just saying have faith the size of a mustard seed? And I thought about some reading that I've been doing lately with Martello Linda Martello Whitslit's book called How to Pray Without Talking to God. And in there, she talks about denials. And I know we've heard the denials and affirmations. And in her, she says how we get to that true essence is when we're feeling challenged or wrapped up in a story about it. One spiritual fitness tool that we can use is denials. And a denial is a gentle clearing away of the cobwebs of the negative emotions. So she words it this way: spiritual denial is a disidentification with, a renunciation of, and elimination of thoughts and beliefs that we realize are contrary to spiritual truth. And in it, she gives a great exercise to help us get to a better understanding of ourselves. And I thought I had this slide up, so I'm sorry, I apologize, but if any of you are interested later, I can guide you in the right direction. First of all, she says, write down the facts. If you're having a time to try to figure out how to get to a denial, and write down the facts, then write down your feelings. And then with your own self-awareness, look at the underlying beliefs that you may be having there. And from there, you create an eliminating denial. A denial is about elimination and letting go, but it's also not just letting go. It's about creating almost like it's like spiritual fitness, a block. I am no longer accept this to be in my life now, and to have fear run my life. I am brave and courageous, and I live life vitally and strong with faith and love. Something to that extent. So and then you followed up with an affirmational truth. So it's the facts, the feelings, underlying belief, and the eliminating denial created, and then the affirming affirmation. So, sometimes you just need to shake it up a bit. You can go to the next slide. Thanks, Angelica. And I have, like shake it up, meaning you just need a shift in energy. It may not be that bad. So I know sometimes when we're tired and drained of our energy, to muster up that faith muscle. And it reminds me of a story about my dad in the 70s as a busy family physician, working a very long day at the office. And then he had to go make a house call after work to help a patient out that was really not feeling very well, and he needed to assess them. He was so exhausted driving out to the place and thought to himself, how can I be of help when I feel so drained that I can hardly think clearly? Well, they lived out near the P&E. And as he was driving by, he saw the roller coaster and thought about that exhilarating ride. And then it suddenly dawned on him, oh, heck, that's what I need to do. So he parked the car, went into the P&E, got himself a ticket, and went for an exhilarating shift-changing ride on the roller coaster before going to his house call. That's taking it to the max, man. Well, at that point then, he was able to regain his clear, obviously it would clear your head, clear your energy, and revitalize you and shift you into being able to attend to some other person's needs and be clear with that and with them and ready to serve. Well, you don't always have to go on a roller coaster ride, but you sure can get out in nature and appreciate all the little miracles you see out and shift your energy. Breathe the fresh air and get back in touch with your true self. It ignites a spark of love in our hearts and minds. There's a quote from Peter DeVries that I found. We can choose to help ourselves become inspired, or we can be a servant of inspiration to inspiration. We can wait for the fictitious muse to arrive, or we can take control and direct our own mind. we can take control and direct our own energy. I have one more story to share with you, and it was when Angelica, Lori, and Doreen and I went down to Unity Village in September for the Unity Canada conference. They have it there every couple of years. We got there a day early, and we were in the bookstores. We had time to explore, and we were going to go on a tour of the village. And I met these ladies just in the bookstore. Our energy, I was thinking they were part of our conference, but they weren't. They were from North Carolina, and they had been coming to their Unity church in North Carolina for about a year, and they were on a road trip, and they decided to divert and come to Unity Village, and there they were in the bookstore. So we all just gravitated towards each other. We ended up getting really hungry, going for lunch, and they shared a beautiful story with us that both of them were in the military, and one was the other's superior, and they had fallen in love, but they were no chance that they could be able to be truthful and honest with that, with that relationship that was building for them. So for quite a while, they had to keep the faith of their own relationship and their own spark and love that they had and they felt for each other, and that they knew it was the right, authentic relationship for themselves, just not in that setting under those the programming of the Army, or being in the military. So they made up a plan to retire and then get married. And they did that. So here they were on this road trip, and they were there, and we all we said, let's go on a little tour. I hadn't been there in 40 years, and it was all new to everybody else. So we're just kind of fumbled our way around. We were actually not fumbling. We were dancing. We were leaping around by the fountains, and we were just like sisters that had known each other for years. We were total soul sisters in that instant. And we went into the Peace Chapel. And it was such a beautiful moment to walk into that Peace Chapel, and there happened to be 5 chairs there. And we all just took a breath and walked in and sat down in the chairs and closed our eyes and remained quiet for 15 minutes. Just feeling the vibration, connecting to the Fillmores, Charles and Myrtle, and all that they had built there, and silent unity across the way. It was a really beautiful moment. It was an exquisite moment to share with people we'd really only known an hour ago, but we really had known them. It was like we'd known them for a lifetime. And so I just wanted to speak on that story because I thought it was such a beautiful, heartwarming story. And in fact, we went over to Silent Unity, and they have a garden out there, and there's 2 little birds kissing on a fountain, and they're in the middle of the garden. And I said, okay, girls, that's it. Get together. And so I took a picture of them, and it was so cute with that beautiful statue there. And they just felt so free, so accepted, so loved, and the oneness of all of us was just, it was incredible. And we all felt very blessed. And then they were leaving, so they left, and we went on to our conference. So it was just that wonderful fleeting time that was super special. And I was thinking about, so this spring, I'm going to invite you to go within and connect with your own feelings around what might be disturbing you, or what might be making you feel disconnected, where you might need to shake things up or till the soil of your soul and strengthen your faith. Move the energy like the rocks in the soil that might be blocking you from your true potential. And I invite you to just close your eyes for a moment. Let's get quiet right now and connect with what comes up. And imagine tilling your own soil. Remove the dead debris that lays stagnant and the rocks that might be impeding your growth. Thank them for their lessons and release them. Gently sweeping away the old cobwebs to start anew. Now I invite you to think on the potentiality of one seed, a seed of faith, and imagine cultivating it from deep within your soul. Feel it as you breathe. Feel it as light, as love, and as a little miracle of faith and potentiality. Shift the energy, make it light, and let go. Through faith, let go. Whatever those seeds that we have that we can cultivate, not overthinking, shifting the energy, surrendering to love and peace. We are surrounded by great creative action. The creation of nature. Look around and ask what seeds of thought you're knowing, of your own knowing, that you could plant in faith and grow to your truest potential. And as one of our co-founders, Charles Fillmore, said when he was 93, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. And so it is. And may you grow because you know. Blessings to you.